Hi there, and welcome to Ambitious Single Moms Stories of Strength and Success. I'm Sonja from Your Success Story Single Mom Level Up Edition, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us today. I'm a mother of 3 wonderful daughters, and when my husband separated from me in 2017, he moved out on a Sunday, and the next morning my mother died unexpectedly. During this time, I was although in the middle of chemotherapy. Suddenly, I'm all alone with 3 small children. As a single mom and a businesswoman, I know firsthand how challenging and rewarding this journey can be. When I first became a single mom, I felt overwhelmed and uncertain about the future. But through support and consistency, I've managed to build a life that I'm proud of, both for myself and my 3 children. This podcast is all about celebrating the incredible stories of ambitious single moms who are not only raising their children with love and dedication, but also pursuing their dreams and building successful businesses. Each episode, we will dive into their journeys, exploring the heights and lows, the lessons learned, and the strategies they've used to overcome challenges. My goal is to inspire, motivate, and provide valuable insights for all the amazing single moms out there who are striving to create a better future for themselves and their families. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and there are endless possibilities when you take charge of your life. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Ambitious Single Mom Stories of Strength and Success. My name is Sonja and I'm your host, and I'm beyond excited to introduce you to my today's guest, Mehr Syed from Pakistan. Hello, Mehr.
Hello, Sonia. First of all, I have to start by saying that it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me. And I'm really excited to the conversation we're about to have. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, and I'm so happy that you are prepared to share your story, your journey. And yeah, we have a few topics we already spoke about in our first conversation. So I guess it's something very interesting for our listeners that you have to share. So, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 children, Sonia.
Ah, cool. So do
Yeah,
I.
they are the ages of 19, 17, and 14.
Okay, amazing. And for how long have you been a single mom?
Yeah, my husband, he tragically passed away due to a sudden heart attack 4 years ago. And so yeah, that's the moment. That was the fateful moment which changed things for me and my children, and nothing has been the same ever since. Our life changed, whatever. I don't know, the family system, everything, my work, and me as a person, all of that changed after he passed away. And of course, my children have also been struggling to the fact that he's now gone, and there have been a lot of changes. But yeah, I mean, I would just say that as life goes on, human beings, well, they do learn to adapt and to adjust to the changing circumstances. So yeah, that's been our journey so far.
You just mentioned life goes on, but you said, told me in our pre-talk that it was not so easy for you and that um, you missed really someone who understood you and who helped you out of, yeah, of course, we grieve. You did not only have that separation, you also lost a person. So this was your most difficult topic, the grief and getting out of it, or what was for you the hardest thing?
Thank you so much for asking this question, Sonia, because I can now actually tell you in detail how things happened and how I've come to this point today that I'm now casually saying that life goes on. See, the thing is that my life, it took an unexpected and transformative turn following the death of my husband. And this deeply personal loss, it ignited a passion within me to help others navigate the complexities of grief. And this is how I became a grief coach. And the initial days, the initial months, they were extremely difficult for me also. In the first 2 years, I was in a state of, I don't know, a lot of heavy emotions like depression, sadness, sometimes anger, and on top of all of that, not knowing how to process these emotions, how to get in touch with whatever I was going through, and how to find the right people to share what I was feeling. So all of these things that really put me in a not so good spot. I would say that, and along with these things comes, well, I don't know, physical weaknesses also, and it affects your mental status of taking decisions, of functioning, of focusing, and you as a person, your health and everything, your well-being, it starts deteriorating. So all of this happened with me, and I very much felt the journey and all that till the moment I realized that something has to change. Life cannot go on like this. During all this time, I was there for my children to the best of my ability, and thinking that that I'm the single parent now, and with their father gone, they only look up to me for everything. So I was trying my best in that area. But my own personal life, I would say that I was a wreck in simple words. So all these things, all those moments of hopelessness and sadness, they led me one day to a point where I realized that. Uh, yeah, there are people like me who are going through something similar, and there has to be someone who is able to guide them, to coach them, to maybe just listen to them. And this was the point when I pursued not only to understand my own pain, but also how I could support others in finding, I don't know, maybe a renewed purpose, the meaning in their lives after loss. So after this, when I came across this idea, and one thing led to another, and then I started looking into subjects around positive psychology and mindfulness, both of which have provided me with a solid foundation to guide individuals and myself first, and other individuals through their grief with compassion and insight. So, and yeah, I also believe that the resilience of the human spirit and the power of connection and healing, that needs to be highlighted. That needs to be told to people who are facing grief or who have lost someone in life. And this is what I work around, like in grief coaching. I create supportive spaces where individuals can explore their feelings, and they can rediscover hope, get in touch with whatever they're feeling, and rebuild their lives, of course, with a renewed purpose after losing someone to death.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that's been very compact. And yeah, we always have that one moment where we realize something and where something happens in our life. And we already talked about that everything happens for a purpose.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Absolutely.
purpose could you take for you from the whole situation?
Yeah, I believe that my mission is to help others now to transform their pain into strength. And if I can accompany on this journey towards healing and growth, well, I think my job would be done. And because I think everyone needs guidance, everyone needs support and a listening ear. And people who are grieving, they need to learn to honor their grief while rediscovering joy and purpose. Because the thing is that grief and growth can coexist. Happiness and grief do not cancel each other. And grief is it's a lifelong experience because it's a human emotion, and it's just that it's a form of love that we have for that certain someone or something that we cannot show now since they're no longer in our lives or part of our lives, or they're gone, or yeah, whatever the circumstances are. So that love, that unshowered love, that is what grief is. That shows up as grief, and that is why it stays with us. So the idea just is that we need to allow ourselves to move forward while grieving, just by learning how to cope with grief in a better way.
Yeah, I guess when you lose a person, we don't allow, as you say, we have to allow ourselves to live. And most of the time we can't allow it to us because, wow, the one person is dead. And especially as a single mom, you lose the loved husband, or yeah, men also lose their wife. We lose that, and we have to cope. Being a single parent, it's very tough with all the tasks we have. And then, yeah, how do you create a new life, a happy life, and a life that is also that you can yeah, you also mentioned that you are a role model for your kids. So you should not only just exist and live, get up in the morning, but you should have also a big vision, a new big vision, and allow this to yourself to have this and to enjoy life while the other person is not there anymore.
Exactly. Because, Sonia, this is the thing that, when something that was there, it becomes absent in your life, like maybe due to death, due to any other thing, if a person or relation, it goes out of your life. The thing is that there is a shift in reality. And what we have to do, which is not an easy thing, is to accept the new reality, change the perspective of how we look at things, how we look at our life. Because when we had that person or that thing in our life, things were different. But now, since that reality has changed, it takes a bit to accept the new reality. But that's the thing, we do have to accept the new reality and adapt and see how we can move forward or move with, because sometimes it's not always possible to move forward. We should learn to move with the grief or the pain or whatever, the this loss of this ache that we are feeling, or because of the loss of this person or this thing. So we have to accept and adapt. So this is I think, and yet, like you said, and I also mentioned that allowing ourselves to do this, that's most important. Acknowledging and then allowing.
Yeah. Yeah, you also mentioned to me in our last talk that you prioritized self-care. How do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think because there were times when I was not taking care of myself at all. I remember those days. They were nothing but days of hopelessness and sadness and gloominess all around. And like I mentioned, that even though I was trying my best to be there for my children, but even that, me as a person, I don't know. It was, I felt that, my life was also over and maybe I was also dead. There were also times when I used
Mhm.
to think like this. But then when I would say the moment of change that came like suddenly in my mind, and after which everything changed, my thought process and everything. I don't know, it was a moment of awakening or whatever I would call it. But this moment, which came and brought with it a lot of new ideas, that ideas of a different life, a life in which I will be a different person. I just had to get up and accept my new role. But for accepting that, for embracing that new reality, I had to become the best version of myself, or at least strive for it. So when that thought came in my mind, then I started looking after myself towards the exercise routine, the eating habits, the sleeping routine, all that. And when I started doing these things, I mean, this was not like an overnight change. Obviously, it took a few weeks for me to get informed for adapting to these new things, to these healthy habits. But little by little, as I was progressing towards these healthy habits, I was feeling a lot of shift of energy in myself and in the work that I was doing or trying to do, in my relationships with people, in my understanding of where I was in life, and the bigger picture, like, in terms of where I should be and where I am and where I should be heading and what is the right path, whatever my goals are, if any, what is the process to get near those goals and achieve them. So this is what happened when I started taking care of myself and putting myself first and thinking about how this decision of doing something or not doing something is going to affect me, my life, and me as a person. So these were the things that I consciously, because when I talk about coping with grief, and this is what I tell other people also, the people I work with, is that whenever anyone thinks about coping with grief, there is a conscious effort to be made because grief is just there. You have to decide that you want to feel better about
Yeah.
whatever heavy emotions that you're going through. So definitely a conscious effort has to be made, but the results, well, they're really good. They're remarkable.
Yes, as you just said, you have to make a decision, and then the impulse has to come from the inside of you. There can be
Absolutely.
so many coaches, mentors, or friends, family who push you and say, hey, life is nice and you deserve it. But if you don't believe it inside you, and if you can't picture yourself in a new life, and if you can't believe that um, you just that you deserve a better life and a happy life, then of course it's still possible to make a change, but it's of course harder and takes a bit longer. And it's okay to do small steps, I guess. So sometimes, of course, we can change like that. Yes, so I had situations like that as well, that things changed suddenly like that. I had a sudden realization, and it made me wow, crazy. And sometimes, of course, it's harder because it's deep in our belief system that we don't deserve something, that it's not possible, that we can't do this as a woman, that it's not okay, and we have to put ourselves last and first the kids and everybody else. So yes, think there are so many possibilities how we can change and what we can do. And
Yeah.
every journey is different.
Yeah, you said it absolutely right, Sonia, because everyone feels grief differently. There is no right way or wrong way to grieve, you know? And you mentioned people and friends and relatives around us. The thing is that um, the irony is that someone who's not faced something similar, in terms of what you are grieving about, they are not going to be able to relate to you. They might not have the right words to say to you, even though, well, everyone comes from a place of concern. I totally understand and respect that. But since everyone's experience is different, it's not, sometimes the people around you, they can't really connect with you on that level, the place of pain and discomfort you're at. Maybe they can't envision that because they don't know. So that's also one thing that I feel that creates isolation in people who are grieving, because then they don't feel connected to the people around them. And it is an although it's a universal experience like grief, everyone goes through grief, but it's very isolating at the same time.
And were you also able, or are you able to help your kids? Because I guess they did grieve as well.
Yes, very good question you have asked, Sonia, because the thing is that two of my children were teenagers when my husband passed away, and one was the youngest, she was 9 years old at that time. So each one of my children, they grieved differently. All of them showed different reactions, and all of them had different things to say or not say, right? Because like where one child was expressing their emotions or what they were going through, the others were not. So, and since this was a, like, I would say, a very developmental stage for them, and a big loss, a shocking one too, it definitely took them a while to go through all this and cope with this. And I have just tried to be patient with them, with each one of them, and be a good listener, and trying to figure out what is best for them in a certain situation. This is what I've been trying to do. And while I'll definitely say this, that me becoming a single parent like that unexpectedly, well, obviously, I didn't really have all the answers myself. But I'll just say that I took decisions in the spur of the moment, thinking what would be best for them, for us as a family, for our changed reality in that in that specific moment. So I went along with that. And yes, my children have been through a lot of ups and downs after that. And today, all of the three kids are teenagers now. And I can just say that I'm proud to say that they have come out as brave individuals, much maturer and much sensible than children of their age because of the circumstances that they were put in. So, yeah.
Yeah, my separation and divorce was sudden, but of course my kids have still their dad, and but they lost at the same time their grandmother very unexpectedly, and I can relate to what you just said, that it's so important to give them time and to listen and be patient. And we shouldn't forget that we ourselves, as a mom, we and as a woman, we also have our pain. We are also grieving. I grieved because my mom died and my husband left me. So it was a tough time for me as well. And sometimes I was so angry with the world. And then taking care of the situation and not letting it out, or then I don't know how to express it in English, to to take the kids as a catalyst, or how do you say it? So I'm when I'm angry and I don't use the kids to give all my anger on them. So I really try to do nothing like that. And it's sometimes hard because I don't know. Every 2 weeks, I have the possibility that the kids are going to their dad. You don't have that anymore. The dad is not there anymore. So how do you cope with this? You have the kids 24/7 all the time. Do you have family that supports you? Or
Yeah, I do. I have family. I have my parents. My sisters, they live in the US, and they sometimes come to visit us. And but yeah, I have family. And unfortunately, my husband's family, they cut ties with my children for, I don't know, very stupid and selfish reasons. So that was another shocking experience for my children as well, because this is something which we weren't expecting from them. But I don't know. This is how people are. This is how life is sometimes. Because one other thing, Sonia, and when you face a loss or whenever you're going through a tough time, that is exactly also the time when you realize who your real friends are, who are the people that are there for you. And well, I don't know. It's very truthful to say here that there are a lot of shockers and surprises. And at least that's what happened with me, that the people who I thought that they were close to me, they were my friends, they were my well-wishers, somehow they disappeared when I went through this tragedy. And some other people who I wasn't expecting, they came forward, and some of them are still in touch with me, and they've been there for my kids and for me. So these are also things that the realities, the hard realities that life keeps on showing you, and I think that these are all lessons, that life keeps teaching us, and the experiences that we go through, I believe that they're meant to teach us something, and it's up to us what our takeaway from a certain situation is.
I see it like that as well. That when I look back, I always look at it. So what can I take from that? What is the learning? What did it teach to me? I do it like that as well. And that helps really, because when you when you find out what is the teaching, what can I learn from that, you won't face it in the future anymore. So, and you can grow from all these situations.
Exactly, absolutely. Because I think that growth it's a lifelong process, and we should definitely give us the permission to grow and keep learning new things from every
Absolutely.
experience, from
Yeah.
every place that we are put in, from every interaction that we have with any other human being, from all these things, all the experiences. We should allow ourselves to evolve as human beings.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's important to listen to, you listen to your clients, what they have, or to your kids. So it's always important to be very aware of what's going on in your life and to really listen. What do other people tell you and how do you respond to this? So that's something I learned in the past 3 or 4 years as well, to be very aware of what the person I'm talking to is telling me and how do I resonate with this and what does it tell about me? Am I angry or do I like it? Or yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would really like to appreciate here, Sonia, for saying this because you know what? I don't know. The world is so busy. People are so busy these days. Very few people think like this and consider listening. And I think with the advent of smartphones, everyone, even when they're sitting in a gathering, I don't know, around a dinner table, or they have their phones in their hands, even if they pretend to be listening to you, they're not. And this is, I think, each one of us, all of us, we do this sometimes. And I
Mhm.
think amidst all this, we have really lost the attention that we are supposed to have and we're supposed to give to other people when they're saying something, when they're expressing themselves, when they're specifically talking about their emotions. And what does this lead us to? It leads us to not having a solid connection with them. I
Yeah.
mean, we may, yeah, yeah, I heard you, this is what you said. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, or I don't agree with you. These are the sort of conversations that we have. But I believe that every human being deserves to be listened, especially when they're grieving, especially when they have something heavy on their heart. And it's very important that they find someone who is ready to listen to them. And if we can be that someone, well, that's again amazing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I believe it's very important. This whole listening process, it needs to be looked into in more detail. I think the human beings need to come back to the concept again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I guess the most important thing is that we start by ourselves and listen to ourselves, and that here we come to back to the self-love. And we as a woman, um, you mentioned before that you took care of your kids and you just moved on, maybe like a roboter, and just doing everything um, with no realization of what's going on. You just woke up and yeah, you didn't listen maybe to what your heart tells you. And that's what I have to learn as well, because my mom didn't show me that it's important to take care of myself. She always prioritized my sister and me. And so I learned it from her. And I have to also take care of myself and listen to myself, really deeply listen to myself, because as you said, we are so busy with everything. And I kept myself also busy so that I didn't have to listen to myself. And the voice is always talking to you. But when we are so loud and busy with everything and distracted with smartphones and everything, so yeah, we can't hear what we really want to do and have.
yeah, and once we start doing that, we realize how much we've been missing on in terms of our own as a person, who we are as our identity.
Yeah.
So, and I totally agree with you that yeah, the generation before us, and even we as a generation, we have not been really attuned to this concept of putting ourselves first.
Yeah.
And this is just how it has been, taking care of other stuff, other kids, job, the house, chores, whatever, everything. So, and like I also mentioned, that whatever we need to do in terms of our own well-being, there has to be a conscious effort involved. So this listening to ourselves, prioritizing self-care, this is all again a conscious effort, which I think should be there. Because if I am feeling good, I'm definitely going to make sure that others feel good also, all their requirements, if it's kids, it's work, if everything else, every other thing that, that is also in best shape if I am in the best shape. And if I am not feeling good, and you know what can happen. In the end,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna blame, oh, I'm having a bad day. Please don't come near me. So, this is not how it should be, right?
yeah, that's true. So there's one topic I would like to talk with you. You mentioned last time we spoke that you are also working a lot with forgiveness. And I guess that this is a very important topic we should all learn more about. So why is it so important for you as well?
Uh, Sonia just mentioned that, when you're going through tough times, there are all kinds of experiences that people um, have to go through. And the thing is that many of them might not be the pleasant ones. Many of them might be come out as shocking. I mean, I just said all these things. So the thing is that during these interactions, there are some experiences with other people, with other human beings involved, of course, with which leave you with feelings of maybe anger, maybe resentment, maybe of, I mean, all kinds of these unpleasant emotions where you would feel that, yeah, I mean, this could have been better. I mean, I didn't deserve this. This person shouldn't have done this. Maybe, I don't know, I would have wanted something else to happen and all that. Now, I'm talking about other people when other human beings are involved. But sometimes it's also us also. We sometimes find ourselves at a place where we feel that yeah, we should have done better. I mean, in terms of forgiving ourselves for saying. So those are the times when I think that forgiveness is a very important concept, and we should be learn to we should be able to learn. We should be able to know, like, when it's time to forgive and ourselves or others. Because if we don't do that, what's going to happen? It's going to turn into this burden that we're going to keep carrying if we do not do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Meher. So do you have last words for our listener? Is there something you want to share?
Yeah, of course, definitely. What I would like to say is that a few things that, yeah, I would like to say is that, first of all, whenever you're experiencing grief, remember that all emotions are valid, and just allow yourself to feel without judgment. And second, it's always a good idea to take things one step at a time. I mean, there is no hurry. Healing is not linear. It definitely isn't. And it's okay to have ups and downs, and because they're all part of the human experience. And it's okay to be vulnerable because that also makes us human. It's definitely okay. And one other very important thing is that everyone should try to find a support system in community and or community, because I feel that human connection is extremely important. I mean, we may love sitting alone or sitting isolated, but no, that's, I mean, the human beings are supposed to connect and reach out and be amongst people, and so that they can feel the human connection, the human touch. So all these things are really, I mean, the crux is that you don't have to go through this alone. So definitely reach out to others for guidance and support.
Yeah, absolutely. It's for me also important, and I like to point out that it's very important to choose wisely with whom you surround yourself, because it should be a support system, but or community, a community that supports you to get out of that grief and to build you up, and not uh, supporting you and pulling you down.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mehr, for everything you shared with the listeners. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ambitious Single Moms Stories of Strength and Success. It's been an absolute pleasure having Mehr share her incredible journey and insights with us today. I hope you found her story as inspiring and empowering as I did. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or any questions you have for our guest. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. All the links and additional resources about Mehr and myself can be found in the show notes below. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue bringing you amazing content. Until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep thriving. See you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on Ambitious Single Moms, Stories of Strength and Success. Let's embark on this journey together and rediscover the magic in our lives. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode.